Hi, everybody, and welcome to Talking Crypto, which is the first of a new series of LinkedIn Live sessions that we're running here at checkout.com. We've been running a series called Talking Payments for a very long time with some of our favorite people in the payments industry. And we thought it was about time that we brought this to the crypto community. At Checkout, we have the most amazing network of merchants and partners in the crypto space. And so we're excited to bring those to our wider community and to share all these amazing offline conversations that we're lucky enough to have with those people, with all of you. My name's Jess Houlgrave, and I lead crypto go-to-market at checkout.com. And I'm super excited to have our first guest here today, Julian, who is the CEO of Relai. And Relai are one of the new partners that we have at checkout.com. We've been working with them for a little while now. They're a Swiss-based Bitcoin app, bringing 24/7 instant Bitcoin purchases to the European ecosystem. So I'm super excited. We're going to spend like 30 minutes. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat. This is designed really to bring these stories to life. So Julian, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Jess, and thanks for the great pitch about Relai. This has been very nice.
Thanks for joining us. So let's start at the very beginning. My favorite question whenever I meet people who work in crypto is like their origin story, and I want to get into Relai and the origin story of the platform in a moment. But just tell me a little bit about you first.
Of course. So I'm a young entrepreneur, Julian Liniger, here in Switzerland. I'm only 29 years old. I look even younger, I know, but I turned 30 in 2 months' time. And I studied business administration and psychology here in Bern, in the capital of Switzerland, at the university. I now live still in the canton of Bern in a bilingual city called Biel. And we have our office in Zurich, so kind of in the German-speaking area of Switzerland. And after studying, I worked a little bit in banking and a little bit more in management consulting before I thought, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be independent. And I was really fascinated about Bitcoin and crypto ever since I discovered it in 2015. And so since 2018, I'm actually working in this.
Amazing. And like going back to that moment in 2015 where like you first heard about Bitcoin and crypto, what was it that got you interested? Like for me, as I was an economics undergraduate, I'm kind of really geeky about the monetary systems side. For other people, it's the technology. Like, what was it that got you interested?
Yeah, it was a mix. So I'm not a tech guy, even though I was always interested in technology. I'm not a coder. I don't understand anything about technology basically. But I studied business administration. So what was also fascinating to me was like monetary policy, economics, but also business and like markets. So everything that had the price that you can trade was interesting to me. I was reading a lot of books about this. And then this is probably what got interest. What is really interesting to me is that this is an area that has a little bit of everything. So it has technology, it has economy, it has legal aspects, societal aspect, even psychology, behavioral, market aspects, and trading, obviously. So it was a rainy day somewhere in autumn 2015, where someone, a tech guy, a good friend of mine who's purely into tech, showed me this in his, when we were kind of gaming or something in his living room. He showed me some cryptocurrencies that he has just bought, and they would go up and down in price. You could trade them 24/7, and you would be able to do this purely through the internet without any bank or government or any other third party being between this. So that's what really excited me, that this peer-to-peer open source movement of money, of something of value that you can trade, and you don't need a bank for this. I was like, I want to learn more about this, and this is kind of how my journey started.
It's super compelling, isn't it? And of course, today is actually like a very, very special day for the Bitcoin community because it's the 14th anniversary of the release of the Satoshi white paper. Always kind of coincides with Halloween, and so I think it's a really interesting day for this community. So, talking of Bitcoin, tell me then where the concept for Relai came. Like, how did that start? What's that origin story?
Yeah. So after I spent a couple of years even in learning about this, doing my research, trying it out, like trading with different cryptocurrencies, buying Bitcoin, selling it again with 10% profit, where I thought I was, the best trader in the world, and really getting into the Bitcoin and crypto community locally here, but also in Silicon Valley, where I spent half a year for my studies. And so really after getting into this and learning more and more about this, and also learning how profound the disruption and the revolution will be if everything goes well, I was obviously always the guy knowing about this, because in 2017 especially, where the boom was going on and everybody wanted kind of to invest in Bitcoin, with a small amount of money very easily and very quickly wanted to get into Bitcoin. They were always asking me, like a lot of friends, colleagues, and family members ask me, "Hey, Julian, how can I quickly and easily, without a lot of effort and pain, invest my first $100 in Bitcoin just to see how it works?" And I was really eager to be able to tell them, and I wanted to teach them, but back then it was super hard for a normal person. Even until now, it's quite hard and complicated for a normal person to get into Bitcoin. And so I would set up an exchange account with them. I would go through the whole KYC AML process with them, but I quickly came to understand that 9 out of 10 of these people would just stop the process at one point because it was too complicated for them. And so I really felt we need to make this way easier, like 10 times easier than it is now. We need to just wrap it in an app that everyone can download, and every taxi driver or hairdresser or whatever, you don't need to be immersed kind of in technology or finance or whatever, but just every normal person should be able to download an app and within 1 minute buy Bitcoin from $10 already, get it into itself, storage and handling in it, buying, selling, saving in Bitcoin should be just as easy as using WhatsApp or something.
I love this, like the simplicity of this story and how the whole focus on making it easy for people, because I think that first entry point can often be really scary, right? Like you go into an exchange and there's hundreds of different currency pairs and complicated trading platforms. So for me, like the idea of what you're building with that kind of focus on ease of access for people who are new to the ecosystem is really compelling. Is that the reason that you decided to just purely focus on Bitcoin? And how do you think of the Relai platform expanding?
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons, that we want to make it really easy for people to kind of get into the whole crypto space. And obviously, Bitcoin is and will always be, in our opinion, the biggest cryptocurrency. Like if you look at the last 10 years, at the number one, there was always Bitcoin. We also believe that the next 10 years, Bitcoin will be on top. And yes, you're right. We just wanted to make it super easy for normal people, not like traders, because you feel like a trader when you hop on an exchange platform, right, with all these charts and stop loss and market orders and whatever. For 90% of the people, this doesn't mean anything. And then all these different coins, like on most exchanges, you can now trade way above 100 different coins. And then there's alone coins that are associated with Bitcoin. There are probably 10 or a dozen. So there's Bitcoin Cash, there's Bitcoin Gold, there's Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, there's all these kind of different Bitcoin derivatives which are not Bitcoin. And so it's very confusing for people when they first start off. And probably the safest thing that they can do, I mean, this whole Bitcoin and crypto investing topic there is a risk to it, but the safest thing they can do is basically just to get some Bitcoin with an amount that they are able to lose, and not getting into like super speculative altcoin trading, because that's where most of the people get hurt and get burnt. And with Bitcoin, you can't really do anything wrong because it has been around for the longest time and it will be around for a long time. And it's really the only cryptocurrency that is designed as a savings technology, as sound money, as a store of value, and therefore also is the most decentralized, that is censorship resistant, and there cannot be a lot of abrupt changes on the technology side. Even if there's no central team that could fail, there's no government that could shut it down. So in the end, it's just the easiest, but also the safest way to get into this whole crypto world for a newcomer. That's why we are focusing solely on Bitcoin.
I like that. I also think it's, as somebody who's been like passionate about Bitcoin for a very long time, it's really nice to see this like focus on what the origin of this was and like why crypto kind of came to be in the first place. And I noticed that when I was like reading your blog, like there's a real focus on education and on supporting people in like their journey into crypto rather than getting caught up in like these kind of hype cycles. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, and sorry to interrupt, but this is always kind of the journey that people make, right? The first thing they usually know about is Bitcoin, and then they buy some Bitcoin. This is really where we need to make it super easy for like billions of people to get in. But then the second part of the journey is always, what else is there? Like, there are different altcoins and blah, blah, blah. And some spend a couple of months, some even years with trading different altcoins, and most of them unfortunately lose money. And then the third step is usually getting back again to what you call the traditional kind of sense and ethos of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and they come back to Bitcoin again and become almost Bitcoin maximalists, or just they mainly focus on Bitcoin. And I really see this trend for the last couple of years that people are still maybe having some other speculative investments in the crypto space. That's totally fine, but mainly see Bitcoin as their main long-term investment.
Yeah, and I kind of think when I always talk about these things, I talk about them as like very, very different things, right? There's a tendency for us to group crypto all together. And actually, I kind of think I have Bitcoin in this bucket. I have other altcoins in this bucket. I have stable coins in this bucket. I have CBDCs. Like these all rely on like the same underlying technology, but are like incredibly different assets from the perspective of investing in them or using them in our day-to-day lives. And so I think it's really important to be very distinct about what we're talking about when we're talking about crypto, because it can mean all of these different things, but the idea of it really just being about Bitcoin, which is this like truly decentralized currency and like the original of what we think about in this space, I really like. Now, of course, we are fortunate enough to be partnering with you at checkout.com. Can you talk to me a little bit more about what that means for your customers and for the European market as you see it?
Yeah, so this was a huge leap forward for us, for our product, and for us as a company, but also for our whole community. We have 140,000 app downloads around 40 different countries in Europe, and almost 40,000 active users. So we are always working towards making the experience for newcomers super easy, even more easy, and even more in faster to get into Bitcoin. And this was a huge leap forward to us, this partnership with Checkout. We have been working on partnerships like that, or on these ideas, ever since we started. So this was one of the first ideas we had once we started with our MVP in mid 2020. We obviously started with just a very simple integration with you buy Bitcoin very easily and pay with bank transfer. That's it. But you always had to go out of the app to make a bank transfer, and then many people didn't understand that they actually needed to wire money, because they just thought, why don't they just take it from our account? It's not super evident, super easy to understand, super trivial for normal people. And so for years, we were looking for ways to integrate additional payment methods like credit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, and all these very widely used payment methods in Europe. Because people, when they think about paying something, they don't think about stable coins or something yet. They just want to pay whatever they would buy on Amazon, and whatever payment methods they would use there, they want to also use these payment methods to buy Bitcoin. And this is almost not possible with any service yet. And we, with this partnership and with this latest release that just came out like 10 days ago or something, so it's really new, now enables every Relay user to buy Bitcoin within 1 minute without getting registered or anything, from $10 already, and 24/7 instantly. And the special thing is also you get it directly into your non-custodial wallet. And this is really world's first. So there were other providers, like the big ones, out there, like Coinbase, the biggest exchange in the world. You can use credit card there to buy Bitcoin already, but with us, it's really, you don't need to register. You can download the app. You don't need to register, and up to $500 per day. You can buy directly 24/7 instantly to the price, to the exchange rate right now when you click, and you get the Bitcoin to your own wallet, so no one can take it away from you anymore. You are the master of your keys, of your coins as well. And so this is the world's first, and I'm super, super excited. People love it. Like already 20% of all the transactions are running through these instant payment methods, and it will be more than 50%, I believe, soon. So super popular. People were asking for this for a long time, and now finally, through the checkout integration, we were able to deliver.
So I'm super excited about this, and you briefly just touched on this, like, not your keys, not your coins. This is a non-custodial solution. Just for the people who may be newer to what this means, who are listening, can you just take another minute to explain, like, why this is so different from a kind of custodial centralized exchange where you might buy Bitcoin?
Yeah, sure. I can try. So mainly for a long time, for the longest time in monetary history, so whenever people used money, it was either cash or gold. So cash was more to make like day-to-day transactions, payments, and gold was to save money at home. And so both physical and both they could hold on their own. They didn't need a bank for that. They could store it with a bank or a treasury or whatever, but they usually they have their own control about it. Whereas in the digital world, this was not possible at all until Bitcoin came to play. So we would always use banks or other payment rails digitally to manage our money. There's always a third party involved, and there's a problem when third parties are involved. They can be censored. Your transactions can be blocked. It can even be taken away from you, or it can get hacked and the money is gone. And especially with cryptocurrencies. So with Bitcoin that you hold on an exchange, this is not even a bank. So it's regulated like a broker, a monetary exchange, and they grew very fast in the last couple of years. But essentially they're startups, so they're not super secure. There is a lot of hacks happening, a lot of people having pain of withdrawing their Bitcoin, and so this is really now a time where in history where we can have digital money, digital store of value, like a digital code like Bitcoin, and we can hold it ourselves again. So in this digital world, this is something that is new again, and is super important to kind of keep your sovereignty and be independent of all these third-party service providers. And I'm not going to say everyone should have all his money on his own. So if you have a big amount of money, and also the majority of the people are probably not super, they're not super comfortable of holding their own money yet, but at least a part of it to get comfortable again, to take control again of with your money, so that no one can take it away from you. This is, I think, a true and big innovation.
It's awesome. Thank you. Now, obviously, we've kind of talked about this growth in users, and it's amazing to see the number of people on your platform who are already using checkout to buy Bitcoin. But we are in this kind of crypto winter, I suppose. I'm actually excited about it because I think people are really building a lot of stuff. But like, what's your take on it? Are people still actively buying crypto? What are you seeing maybe on the more institutional side? Like in that core of trading Bitcoin, what's happening?
Yeah, so on many of the big exchanges, the volumes go down significantly, especially on the retail side. So smaller, like day-to-day investors, they stop. Not like their volumes go down. That they are not that active anymore in investing. So sometimes you hear numbers, 70, 80% even of volume of retail going down. The volume of the institutional investors is pretty much staying the same. So the big money is still coming in because they see, the long-term vision of it, and I guess they're not shied away by market environments where retail investors usually have a bit more fear, have a bit more fear and have less money also to spend. So when money is tight, they usually invest less. It's a bit different from, as you mentioned before, crypto is not like Bitcoin. So it's actually quite different for the Bitcoin volumes. So for example, on our platform, we don't really see a big drop in volume. It went down a little bit. We have had explosive growth until summer, and then this crash came, and now it went a little bit kind of stable. But it's not that we have lost double-digit percentages of our volume and revenue. So this really shows me that especially the Bitcoin community that sees Bitcoin as a long-term savings technology and a long-term store of value, they rather even buy a little bit more now because the prices are low. So it really pays off to get into it now. All the people that said when it was 60, 65K, oh, now the price is too high. Well, it's not. It's your time now, right? Bitcoin is on a discount now. So many people think about it this way and are now getting into it. So I think on a Bitcoin level, it's pretty stable. On a crypto level, yes, things really went down with all the hacks and also the other critical situation with Celsius and Luna, the stablecoin, and everything really draw a lot of the more speculative startup venture kind of investments in these other coins down. But on a digital gold and Bitcoin level, the narrative is really still in play. The fundamentals haven't changed, and people who are familiar with this are now even buying rather more than less.
I think also, right, we're all now in this higher interest rate environment. People are wondering where to put money in order to get a return. And I think people also think that like maybe Bitcoin is an interesting hedge against this like inflationary environment. And so it's very interesting to hear that you're still seeing lots of appetite. We've got one question in the chat, Julian, about plans for Africa. I don't know if that's part of the future of Relai, but like maybe you can just talk about what's coming up next for you guys as well.
Of course, yeah, that's an interesting question of like expansion. Of course, we would like to expand to the whole world at one point, but we really deliberately focused on Europe as our beachhead market because Europe is a very big market. It's bigger than the US market. Many people sometimes forget that we have more than 400 people in Europe. And it's a very interesting market because, yes, there are different countries, but from a regulatory perspective and also from a banking payment rails perspective, it's very, how do you say, it's harmonic, it's the same. So it's all kind of homogeneous, so it's all the same. Whereas in African countries and South American countries and Asian countries, yes, there the interest and demand for something like Bitcoin is super high. It's probably higher than here even, but they're hard markets to enter because of legal and technical constraints. So as a startup, as a young startup, we focused on Bitcoin. and we focused on Europe. So in the near future, we don't really have plans to get into any other countries, get into any other currencies, because we see so much potential here to expand still in Europe. If you think about, we have 40,000 active users now, and there are 400 million Europeans. So we have the ambition to at least get 1% of all Europeans as active Relai users, and this would be still a 100x growth from now, before we then maybe think about expanding to other countries. But specifically for Africa, and actually for all the continents, there are very similar services like Relai out there already, like apps that make it super simple with your fiat currency to get into Bitcoin and to set up a savings plan into Bitcoin as well. So really using Bitcoin as this long-term savings investment. So in Africa, for example, they're called BitNob. They have been founded around the same time, like maybe 2.5, 3 years ago than we did. And they're doing a fantastic job. So I would check them out if I were you, if you were interested in the African market. Then in Australia, there's an app called Amber, which was launched a bit before us, maybe a year before us. In the US, there's Swan Bitcoin. And so interesting to see that they're all basically doing kind of the same in these continents. So it really shows that there's a need for that. And in terms of what we are thinking about next, look, it's really these bear markets, or like crypto winters, as you called it, are really for building, like startups who want to grow fast. They also need to take time to build on the app. So 2023 for us will be mainly about product and organic growth into other countries. So we will listen to our community very closely, what they're still looking for in our product, what is missing, and we will build on that. For example, also different payment methods. We only have 4 payment methods now live. There's a list of many more that people are asking for, and we are going through this list. And there's many features we are excited about to build in 2023.
Julian, it's awesome to chat with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. For anybody who's listening, where do they come to find out more or to get in touch with you and Relai?
Sure, thank you. It's a great pleasure for me as well. So we are very active online. We have all the channels that you can think about. They're all open. So we have a website where you can get in touch via email or contact form. We are active on LinkedIn and Twitter mainly, but also on Instagram or Facebook. So you can send us a direct message there. We have Telegram groups where a couple of thousand people are participating in discussions. So you can just join them through the website as well. And you can also ask me direct questions on via DM on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm happy to respond if it's not a sales pitch.
Now, talking of your Twitter, just before we go, I noticed that you've only just switched your Twitter profile picture to Bitcoin laser eyes finally this month. What made you get over that lump?
I actually had it for the longest time. So I was one of the first that had laser eyes, but then I switched my profile picture and I forgot to put laser eyes again. This was probably like a year, no, maybe half a year ago, I just simply forgot to put laser eyes on. And then some guy texted me on Twitter like, why are you not a Bitcoiner? Why don't you have laser eyes on? And I was okay. And I didn't know if it's even still a thing, because I have seen that many people kind of took them off again. I didn't know if it's a thing anymore. So I asked on Twitter, is this still a thing? And I think that there was more than 100 comments on yes, it is still a thing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put them.
You put them back.
I'll keep them until we reach 100K.
That's awesome. Julian, thank you so much for joining us. Super excited to be working with you guys. Keep up the amazing work. Sounds like you're building a lot of community, which is, as we all know, so important in this space. For everyone at home, thank you so much. Please drop us a line with any questions that you have on the payment side. Follow Julian and his team on their progress as well.
Thank you so much, Jess. Really excited to collaborate.
Thanks.